Good morning. The subject of today's podcast is Balancing Earth the Indian Way by Dr. M. Lakshmi Kumari. After her PhD in botany from Madras University, she joined as professor of botany in Padmavati Women's College, Tirupati. She completed her postdoctoral research at the Institute of Microbiology, Ukraine, Academy of Sciences, Kiev, USSR. He worked as a senior scientist in microbiology in Indian Agricultural Research Institute, New Delhi. From 1970, he joined US Kendra in 1921 as a full-time after the demise of the founder of Vivekan Kendra, Mananiya Eknathji Landre, she was unanimously elected as the All India President of Vivekan Kendra in the year 1984. He continued as its president till 1995. Presently, Lakshmi Kumari is the lifetime chairperson of Vivekananda Kendra Vedic Vision Foundation, Kodungalur, Thrissur district, Kerala. Now, the president of Kendra, she extensively traveled the country spreading the message of Swami Vivekananda, in addition to her duties as the president, giving form and content to Swami Vivekananda's ideal of social service as visualized by Mananiya Eknathji. In 1992, when Kendra organized a marathon year-long Vivekananda Ke Bharat Parikrama, she participated in it for the full time of 353 days. In 1993, she represented Vivekananda Kendra at all the three major world parliaments of religions at Washington, Chicago, and Calcutta. Also in 1995, at the World Hindu Conference at Durban, South Africa. In 1999, she again stood at the World Parliament of Religions, Cape Town, South Africa. As the chairperson of Vivekananda Kendra Vedic Vision Foundation, presently is engaged in encouraging Vedic studies in different ways through promoting Sanskrit, publishing Vedic literature, conducting seminars, Vedic classes, and podcasts. Today, considered as the most authentic person to speak on teachings of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Swami Vivekananda. Dr. Lakshmi Kumari has been a prolific writer as the editor of Vivekan Kendra Patrika and Yuva Bharati from 1982 to 95. In addition to various other cultural and spiritual magazines, some of her articles have been compiled as Snake and Ladder based on Bhagavad Gita, Islam must live devoted to women, bringing patriotic ideas on Swami Vivekananda, Bhagavad Gita, and Vivekananda Charana in India. He has received many awards. On 19th October 2017, she was awarded Amrita Kirti Puraskar by Amritanandamayi Math, given to persons who have made significant contributions to Indian culture and Vedic tradition. On 20th April 2025, she was awarded the Swami Nirmalanji Award 2025 by Sri Ramakrishna Math, Uttapal, and Tulsi Books Singapore for lifelong dedication to serving society through Vivekananda's teachings and her contributions as an academician. Usually, when we invite people to a gathering, we get carried on these and fear grows as the life achieves. But as far as Dr. Lakshmi Devi is concerned, what makes her different is due to the usual blend of scientific temperament and the spiritual bent of mind. Maybe since she was born in a pious and learned family, she imbibed the basics of Indian culture and scriptures as a child. Then the influence of the great master Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa and the teachings of his illustrious disciple Swami Vivekananda. Maybe the close associations with the former president of Ramakrishna Order, Swami Ranganathanand Ji Maharaj, the founder of Chinmaya Mission. and Mananiya Eknathji Ranade, the founder of Vivekananda Kendra. And here, innumerable encounters with many realized persons culminated in the full blossoming of her inner personality. Lakshmi Didi is a friend, philosopher, and guide to many, mentor to many. And of course, Eklavyas like me who learn to experience and absorb her silent message. Charaiveti, Charaiveti, move on, go forward, don't get stagnated, let go, move forward. Here, she is a towering personality, a beacon of light for many.
ब्रह्मचर्यवृदिदण्डिनि सर्ववेदान्तपण्डित श्रीमद्विवेकयोगी My namaskar to all of you, and I'm extremely grateful to Brother Vasudev for giving me this opportunity to address the members of his group on a subject which is of very, very deep concern to all of you and me also. I have chosen the topic balancing mother in Indian way. But now, just now I want to add another word to it. Balancing Mother Earth in the Indian way. Because in that title itself is the answer to the problem. How does the earth balance itself? By balancing, of course, I'm sure you all understand, the maintaining the sustainability of the earth. That is the hidden meaning. How does it balance itself? Why did I choose this particular topic? The other day, watching that big ship with a lot of more than 600 containers sinking into the waters of Cochin port, suddenly I was thinking, can this planet Earth, which is also a big spaceship, come to the same fate if we are not careful? We have filled it with so many containers, some of them with highly poisonous materials, dangerous explosives, and what not. So what will happen if the Mother Earth is to sink deep into the ocean and be lost forever in the vastness of the universe? That thought took me to this particular topic. See, we have any number of stories in our Puranas and Itihasas where the asuric forces which are not concerned with the welfare of humanity at large, which is not concerned with the sustainability of the earth, they despoil her, and how she suffers in the bargain. Our rishis and munis, they use the term dharma. If dharma declines and adharma overrules the conditions, environment, then the earth will lose its balance. So these thoughts led me to think, to ponder over this problem, and I'm putting here some of these thoughts which have appeared in my mind not only now as a botanist, as a microbiologist working in the field of agriculture, These have been troubling me, and some of my concerns and observations I thought I would share with this highly, what shall I say, concerned group like the Narda. And Vasudevji gave me the chance to express it before you. Let me start with just one story from the Puranas. See, the Hiranyakashipu's brother, Hiranyaksha, he was an equally dangerous asura. He started hurting and humiliating the earth, and she just went deep into the ocean. The creation had no place to stand. So they all approached Vishnu and prayed for some solving the problem. And he took the Varaha avatar, the avatar of a boar. He just came out of the nostrils like a small, tiny boar from Brahma's nostril, jumped out and then took a huge, gigantic form with huge tusks, and he drowned himself in the sea and elevated the earth on his tusks and came out and put her again back where she belonged. Then of course he fought the Asura and killed him. That is a story, but the inner meaning means when the humanity lost their concern for Mother Earth and started misbehaving, then all the troubles start. As we all know, sustainability goes, environment gets polluted, and so on and so forth. So, this is referred to as the adharma. So, whenever dharma declines and adharma overpowers dharma, then the godly, divine power manifests itself and come to the rescue of the earth. So that is how, there are many stories. There is another beautiful story of Emperor Prithu. The earth just refused to help the king and his subjects, and finally, with king subjugating her, she agrees to supply all that she had withdrawn unto herself. She has withdrawn unto herself. That is how the story goes. And they all started milking her and take whatever they want. There are any number of such interesting stories are there, which are lessons for us as to how we should treat Mother Earth. So when human beings become oblivious of their duties and responsibilities towards oneself, one's family, one's society, to nature, then what happens? Not only the earth is spoiled, but there is that great power, that great force which holds the earth. It is called parasparya. Parasparam bhavayanta shraya paramavapsita. That is how Sri Krishna tells Arjuna. Whenever the parasparya is lost, when one's actions become self-oriented and disjointed, breaking the natural rhythm of the universe, the dharma, when truth of oneness get neglected and pushed aside, then there is loss of balance. Dharma declines and adharma dominates. So this parasparya, just as we understand it today probably, is the interconnectedness, interrelatedness, and interdependence of all that exists in this universe. Nothing is really separate from the other. But unfortunately, we are ignorant of the subtle inner connections between the smallest of organisms and the biggest of the planets. Maybe we can say like that. So when the humanity loses its balance collectively, when the glory of life on the earth is itself in peril, in nature, the earth loses its balance. This is sort of, we can say it is we can present it in that way, loses its balance. Because as my memory goes to the ship losing its balance. With every generation, the tilt becomes more and more conspicuous, hurting man and the nature. The result is a spiritual crisis as we feel today. So when we go deep into the subject, we find, how does it all start? Naturally, it starts from the individual. It is he loses his interest in preserving the balance of the earth, and it can be summed up in the phrase, the individual calamity can be summed up in the phrase, to have versus to be. To have versus to be. To have, to desire, to covet, to acquire, to possess, to hold, all emanating from selfishness. Coexistence with it are ambitions, pride, built-in are defeat and failure. And Sri Krishna has beautifully reminded us of this sequential fall of such a personality in Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure all those who are listening to this speech must be remembering it. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa samgasteshu vajayade samgat sanjayade kama kama krodho vijayade krodhat bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibhrama buddhinasho buddhinashat pranasya. Attachment, desire, anger, delusion, loss of memory, depletion of intelligence, and finally total destruction. Love, power, possession, career, luxury, etc. are the manifold infections it creates in our personality, destroying its caliber and quality. From personal life, the infection spreads into the families. The parasparya in the family is lost. The love, the understanding, the concern, the compassion, all that is lost. And then it spreads into the communal, social life and on to the national life. Competition and exploitation dominate such a culture which tends to be aggressive and violent. These are referred to as asuric in our Indian tradition. World history is replete with examples of death and destruction such asuric forces release. Totality of it leads to imbalance in every aspect of our materialistic life. Highly autocratic rulers start wars leading to destruction of life and civilizations. Now, how did Indians solve this problem? Because India's, we know India's culture is something which we cannot count the number of years which had been present in this world. So having understood very early in our civilization the pitfalls of a culture wedded to have our forefathers who were natural scientists with astonishing intuitive power, what did they do? They evolved a different system. It is to be. centered in the exquisiteness of the truth of one's inner being, the self within. Here, standard of life was more important than the standard of living. People were urged to acquire qualities that elevated and not acquire things which make life burdensome. All our great seers, our Vedas and Puranas, including Swami Vivekananda, through every word they uttered, have emphasized the spiritual oneness of the entire creation and emphasized the survival of mankind is in this beautiful home, the earth. It needs a turn from the material to spiritual, and that is inevitable. It's becoming more and more clear now. A shift from the purely selfish to global awareness is essential to keep the balance of the earth. A feeling of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam is a must for the survival of mankind and preservation of our grand spaceship from tilting the Mother Earth, lest it may turn into, as I said earlier, into a lifeless planet among the galaxy of planets in the infinite cosmos. Now it is satisfying, we can say, that the West has slowly started understanding some of these values, and they have started playing with the ideas like voluntary simplicity, frugal consumption, systemic wisdom, global awareness, etc. They are becoming part of the Western wisdom. Now we come to the Indian approach. We started with the individual. Individual is important, but individual belongs to a family. And in that family, who is important? That is the important thing. The mother is the most important. So our great seers, calling earth as Mother Earth, found a beautiful, elegant solution to the problem. It's most wonderful, isn't it? It's only in India, I think, we call earth Mother Earth. We consider her as Vishnu Patni. The genius of the Indian rishis, that they referred to nature, rivers, animals, etc. as mother, and placed them all in a glorified, elevated pedestal, and thus saved them from the imbalance. What is so special about calling someone a mother? Is there something? The West has such meager conception of the motherhood, so they may not understand it, but for us we know, Madhur Devo Bhava, that is how the children returning home were told. Why Madhur Devo Bhava? Let us see what is important of a mother. Mother is truly the embodiment of Advaita of love. Advaita of love. Everywhere else we see Dvaita bhavas of love. Mother is the embodiment of Advaita of love. There is no relationship in the world so sacred, so spontaneous, and so very elevating as that of a mother's love. Why? From the moment the embryo starts vibrating with life, with the life of mother's prana synchronizes with that and releases a new thrill of joy spreading in her being. Her thoughts, moment to moment, are centered in this life throbbing within her. Slowly, those pranic vibrations synchronize with the symphony of the universe. It is why she comes to absorb the Advaita of love. The vibrations within her, of her own prana, her embryo's prana, they start synchronizing with the symphony of the universe, and she feels one with it. A woman who had felt within her the vibrations of the unity of oneness elevates herself into a universal being, almost divine. Selfish motivations are drained off from her. There is no sacrifice that she wouldn't do for her child. Her life is one of exemplified service, giving, asking for no return. That is what the mother stands for. Giving, asking for no return. Advaita, the crest jewel of Indian thought, she becomes an embodiment of that Advaita of love. Absolute oneness with everything in the universe becomes practical and poetical in mother's life. Swamiji always says, Advaita must become practical and poetical in my life. But who is the example? Mother is the example. This adoration of the mother and seeing the entire creation as a manifold expression are typically Indian. All that we respect and adore, we add therefore the respectful title of Mother. Mother Nature is for us Mother Supreme, the source of all creation and all its well-being. Thus calling earth as Mother, adoring and worshipping her as a divine being, that became our dharma. And that is how we preserved earth unpolluted from time immemorial. The forces which disturbed her sanctity were called the asuric, and off and on the divine forces appeared and annihilated asuric, demonic, self-centered forces and again brought back dharma. So that is how calling something as mother immediately evokes in our mind an adoration of mother, adoration of a divine being, adoration of our parasparya. All that becomes simultaneously present in an individual when we call somebody as mother. So that is how we called earth mother and bestowed on her all our concern, all our compassion and creativity, everything went to the mother without disturbing her. That is how, so many stories are there. I remember in Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bharata is taking all of his army to Bharadwaja's ashram, and a few kilometers away he stops up and tells them that you all stay here. Only myself, Vasishtha and one or two ministers, only we will go to the Bharadwaja ashram. Why? Because if all of you start walking along this forest, what will happen? All the small trees, all the grass, everything will be destroyed. Small animals will be destroyed. No, that shouldn't be. So only we 4 or 5 will go. We will all stay here. What a concern. And what do we do today? Just imagine. It is a very unique feature of the Indian culture. Therefore, to that we add respect and adoration, which are characterized by more of giving than taking. We give the name Mother. And thus we preserved Mother, called her as Vishnu Patni, and adored and did all sorts of puja. There are Bhumi Pujas, Bhumi Stotras, there are so many things are there available in our Puranic literature. So blessed indeed are those who have this feeling of adoring Mother, worshipping Mother is there. After completing their Gurukula, as I said, when the children were going home, they were given the Mahamantra. I also call it as a Mahamantra, Madhru Devo Bhava. Apart from the 4 Mahavakyas from the Vedas, I always consider this Madhru Devo Bhava is an equally important one. Vedic mantras like the other things. It is in this is because when Mother Deva becomes practical in a family, that family is raised to Amrita Parivar. All the good qualities will preserve their respect, parasparya, everything. When love, sacrifice and service predominate, that the Advaita of knowledge acquired from the teachers melt down. These students who are in the Gurukula, their heads are packed with Advaita of knowledge. But only when they come here, what happens? The Advaita of knowledge melts down into the Advaita of love, sacrifice and service, qualities which make a human being wholesome. That is the starting point. From that, to have, to be, that is the second part I mentioned it, to be a human being full of good qualities. This is the Gurukulam. Out of the adoration of mother came the sanctity of married life, of family disciplines and values. Householder's life, Grihasthasrama, became a necessary step in the evolution of a human being. They were the Gurukulas, where values, customs and traditions were formulated, imparted and preserved from generation to generation. A good home is indeed coloring, a university where every being learned their first primary lessons in character building, social life and nation building. Mother is a central fulcrum in which the family operates. She is also a teacher supreme of the universal parastering, the interconnectedness, the interrelatedness and interdependence of the universe. Mother is our first teacher. How? Because it is she who opens up. Just imagine, each of our sense organs has been opened up to the external world of the sensations by mother. The smell of the mother, the sweetness of the mother's milk, the touch of the mother, the sound of her singing lullaby to you, so on and so forth. Each of our sense organs, they were all curtained probably, all the curtains are removed, and it is she who exposes them to the magnificence of the nature and creation. The beauty and uniqueness of the motherland of motherhood became superimposed in the land of birth, and she came to be worshipped as our motherland. I think that is again an Indian tradition. In other parts they call it as fatherland. Transcending the limits of motherland, one could easily expand and visualize the whole universe as a playground of Divine Mother. Thus could one effortlessly express his or her attunement with one and all in the universe through the Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Mother represents the very womb of creation. She is the irreplaceable link in the chain of creation. She is the symbol of all-pervading great yajna, the basic principle underlying Loka Sangraha, welfare of the world. There is no limit to our praising the mother. Each one of us, I am sure, will have our own special links, special threads of love and understanding with one's own mother. For me, my mother has been a great teacher, great teacher, but for whose blessings I could not have left my material life and gone to Vivekananda Kendra. When I told her I want to go to Vivekananda Kendra, without hesitation, she blessed me. Yes, if that be your wish, to dedicate your life to service and sacrifice, all my blessings are there with you. So I can never forget the part mother played in my life. So this understanding and adoring the mother automatically land an offspring in his relatedness with the world at large. It is a reflection of their mother that they see. When earth becomes mother, none would dare to tilt her balance, disturb her, or create unnecessary confusions on the mother earth. Earth as mother, calling earth as mother and seeing in her reflection characteristics of one's mother. That is how Indians preserve her without any damage. Now we come to the conclusion, because that is how I want to impress upon the importance of mother. There is no need, because all of us have cherished in our mind the importance of mother. So I have only to touch the point and bring it to our notice that earth is our mother, and that is how we should pass on the message to the younger generation. More than creating an intellectual awareness of the relationship between man and earth, as the modern naturalists try to establish, what is urgently needed is to generate a feeling of oneness, of genuine concern, a clear understanding of the deep, unbreakable interdependence between human beings and with all that the earth holds. Man should be aware of the Advaita of love and try to generate it within oneself and spread it outside. Before concluding, let us take a look at some practical hints as to how to set about correcting the imbalance of Mother Earth. I would like to quote here Al Gore, the American politician come naturalist. It reminds us of the paraspermia of the Indian sages. It reminds us of the famous sloka from Upanishad, Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam. The Indian sages, it reminds us of the paraspermia the Indian sages were concerned with and passed on through Upanishad. What does he say? To quote, by educating ourselves and others, by doing our part to minimize our use and waste of our resources. Aren't we reminded of Tena Tektena Bunjita? We each need to assess our own relationship with the natural world and renew at the deepest level of personal integrity a connection to it, that is the paraspermia. And that can only happen if we renew what is authentic and true in every aspect of our life. Here we have to remember Swami Vivekananda, each soul is potentially divine. The goal in life is to manifest that divinity. So we should become aware of this truth within, because that is the starting point from which all expansion can take place. It amounts to enhancing our spiritual awareness of oneness. This awareness alone can reveal the interconnectedness, the interrelatedness, and the interdependence, and that is the true paraspermia of which Sri Krishna speaks, parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramavapsyata. It is only by strengthening the paraspermia can we redeem Shreyas, the ultimate good. Therein lies the royal path to prevent the tilting of Mother Earth. In 1993, I had the great good fortune to attend the centenary of the World Parliament of Religions at Chicago. In conclusion to my talk on environment in a separate session, I had put it like this: the future of the world would be undoubtedly be safe in the hearts of the mothers than in the brain of the fathers. The future of the world would undoubtedly be safe in the hearts of mothers than in the brain of fathers. Let me conclude this talk invoking the blessings of Mother Earth, recited by millions of Hindus as they put their foot on the earth in the morning. Samudra Vasade Devi, Parvatastara Mandire, Vishnupadri Namastubhyam, Padasparsham Kshamasami. The magic To restore the balance of earth is to establish dharma in the lives of millions of who live here. Just to consider earth as mother and bestow on her all love, reverence due to our biological mother. Thank you all.